Council Bluffs. Friday, the final day of the week. These are the voyages of the program Unsportsmanlike Conduct. Its ongoing mission to explore strange new movies, to seek out new bits and new edifications, to boldly go where no radio program has gone before. Elkent's Movie Club. It's Elkent's Movie Club. Elkent's Movie Club. It's Elkent's Movie Club.
Better late than never. Kent Wolgamott, Lincoln Journal star. Happy Friday.
Hey.
It's always good to hear your voice and see you, which means it is Friday, and it is time for a movie club. And this one's a new film that is out this week. Actually, it started last week on HBO Max, and it also came out in theaters at the same time. It's another one of those, dual preview or dual premiere type moments. In fact, next month, it'll be The Many Saints of Newark, which will definitely be chosen in Movie Club in 2 weeks. So we can work ahead on that.
It better be. I was going to force you to do that. If no one chose it.
Yeah. We're talking about a Sopranos theme movie here.
Yeah.
If there's forcing involved, someone's probably dying.
Yeah, so the plan, Kent, since it comes out a week from today, we will do it for the following Friday.
Right.
So
got it.
Yeah, because we won't have the chance to watch it next Friday morning, but we certainly will.
Though I might,
you might do it anyway.
I might stay up really late on Thursday night and okay, is it there yet? Is it there yet? But this week's film is Cry Macho, starring, produced, directed by Clint Eastwood. The man is 91 years old and he is still making films. This one is actually an adaptation from a novel that came out in the mid-70s. And there have been other attempts to make this into a feature film. In fact, at one point in 2011, Arnold Schwarzenegger was going to be cast in the film, but then
Jerusalem's name is Macho. You're not Macho.
That's pretty good. But that production fell through, and finally it comes to Clint Eastwood, and so he made the movie. Real brief synopsis. He's a former rodeo cowboy, former rodeo star, who then kind of becomes a rodeo trainer who, and this is set in the late 70s, he gets fired by his boss.
Mm-hmm.
And this boss has kind of kept him going, even though his rodeo career got cut short because of an injury. And so he kind of feels like he owes it to this guy, his livelihood and his ability to, earn a living. So a few months after he gets fired, his boss calls him back and says, "Hey, I need a favor from you, and I'll pay you, but you need to go down to Mexico and get my son." He's the boss is estranged from his wife, who's now living in Mexico, living the high life in Mexico.
Oh yeah.
And the son is down there, but the son is kind of a rambunctious one. He's basically living in the streets. He's not listening to mom, and of course he doesn't know dad. So
he has Macho.
And yes, the son has a rooster. He's into cockfighting.
Oh yeah.
And the son and the rooster's name is Macho. And so that sends Eastwood down to Mexico to get this kid and to bring him back to reunite him with his father. And in between, there's assorted various things that happen as they're trying to get back through Mexico,
folks,
cross the border into Texas and reunite them. And this is essentially a bonding experience for a 90-year-old man and this 13-year-old kid.
Yeah.
And they end up in this small Mexican town at one point, and they meet some friends, and that's the basic plot line of the movie.
Mm-hmm.
So Kent, I mean, this is Eastwood's genre. He loves playing cowboys, even if this is more of a modern cowboy. There's certainly You know, this isn't the man with no name. This isn't Josie Wales. This isn't Will Money in Unforgiven, but it's a role he's definitely comfortable with, wearing cowboy hats and kind of being the strong silent type.
Yes. And he's good at it, but might just be a tad too old.
That was my first thought.
Yeah.
It just didn't work for me with him. And I'm not, his acting is fine, right? But it's just hard to believe a 90-year-old guy doing this stuff, you know? Beyond just the fact of undertaking this, there's some things that are flat ridiculous, like when he breaks the horses, right? Which is obviously not him on those horses.
Right. Yeah, they're definitely a stunt
he
guy.
could barely walk, you know? And
Yeah.
then the next scene, he's breaking horses. It's like, no. And then even more ridiculous is the stud muffin, right? All these women want to jump his bones, man. He's 91 years old. They might kill him.
Well, yeah, because the wife, the estranged wife who's living the high life down in Mexico, very attractive woman, probably at least
50 years younger than
50
him.
years his younger, makes moves on him. And I
And
was
he
like,
turns her down.
really?
And he turns her down.
Yeah, and he turns her down. And then later, you know, when they end up in this small Mexican town, they become friends with this widowed grandmother and her grandchildren. And the grandmother, at least she was a grandmother, but she definitely, again, she looked at least 30 years his younger, and they're falling in love. It was like I sat there thinking, man, Eastwood just can't help himself here. There's always women in his movies that are attracted to him. And
it's like Seinfeld. Every episode, he had a new one.
Right, but at least Jerry Seinfeld was a young man.
Yeah.
You know, this is a guy who's, you know, in his 90s. I'm guessing he's probably playing someone in his 70s,
but he doesn't come off as someone in his 70s. He's
well,
just,
and that was
he's
the other
just
thing.
too old.
Yeah, that was the other thing too, Kent. And it was a little, it was distracting for me. His voice.
Yes. Okay. I'm happy that you said that, because that was weird. The first time he talked, it sounded like he had a frog in his throat. And I was like, okay, maybe he just needs to cough. But he talked like that the whole movie.
The whole movie. And I didn't know whether that was intentional or if that's just how he talks now.
I think that's how he talks now.
Oh, man. That's
you
rough.
know,
because there wasn't that resonance that was there. I mean, you can tell it's Eastwood, but it's an old
Didn't have
man.
the growl to it.
Yeah. You know, we're talking, this is what, 12, 13 years removed from Gran Torino.
I still need to see that movie.
I mean, the growl is in his voice then.
Yeah.
There's no growl in this voice.
Yeah, it's basically gone.
I mean, it sounds like a very old man.
Mm-hmm.
I had another, you mentioned the grandchildren. This is a criticism that may be only from me in the whole world, but when he does the sign language with the little girl, oh, this is just something I picked up. Well, one floor above me is a university sign language teacher. It's not something you just pick up to start with. And secondly, every country has different sign language.
Okay, I'm taking you.
If he knew American Sign Language and tried to talk to this little Mexican girl, she'd have no more idea what he was saying than you or I, who don't know sign language, was saying, because she would be Mexican Sign Language, not American Sign Language.
Yeah. I didn't like the movie. I thought it was really boring. Kent, one of the things that I wrote down that I wanted to ask you about, I didn't see, was the last movie he made Mule? Is that the last
Mule? Yeah. Yep.
If I remember right, and help me out here, there was some criticism about that movie, I believe, as it relates to the politics of our country at large at this current maybe moment in time, or at the moment in time it came out. Do you think this new? I don't know if I'm right or wrong on that. Do you think this movie in a way is a response to some of the criticism that has been lobbed Eastwood's way over the last, I don't know, 5 to 10 years?
Directly, no, but indirectly, I think probably yes, whether he intended it to be or not, because he's trying to show the character who you assume is to some degree him in this. I'm a really good guy that's going to help people, you know.
Yeah.
The other thing is, this is not that far removed from that movie, The Mule. It was very similar idea in that movie, and I didn't think that one was that great, but it's sure better than this one, which is really, when you get down to it, it's just a road movie, right? It's a movie you've seen 700,000 times before, made different only because you've got this 91-year-old cowboy and they go to Mexico, rather than some, two guys in their 30s or whatever going somewhere, right? So that's one thing. And man, was that dialogue bad?
Oh man, the first 10, 15 minutes, it was like, hey, let's super exposition. Like, here is my whole life story. Remember 15 years ago, you've been this way for 15 years. It's like, geez, are we really?
That Dwight Yoakam had I should have put a watch on it. I'll bet it was almost a full minute of just yap to tell the backstory.
Yeah.
And it's like, if you have to do that, it's a badly written movie.
Yeah.
And there were some other gems, like when they're driving, I think it's right when they find out that her bodyguard and whatever are trying to stop him, and so he turns. I'm going to go down a side road. Thank you.
Yeah, it's like you have to explain this to you. It's obvious, you're trying to avoid the federales because this kid might be wanted. So yeah, why did those things need to be explained? The thing I wasn't particularly fond of, it just, for a road movie where you obviously have an older person trying to relate to a younger person, and they are obviously from different backgrounds.
Sure.
And there's and that at some point there's going to be a bond formed between these two. I just felt that everything, even in an hour and 40 minutes, was rushed.
Yes.
It just seemed like, it wasn't, gosh, I would bet it's less than 20 minutes of actual screen time. How much in lifetime, I don't know what it would be. But there was a moment where Eastwood basically told the kid, I'm beginning to like you. And it was, they had barely just started to interact.
Yeah.
They had just started to meet. And all of a sudden he's like, I'm starting to like you. It's like, really rushed. And then at the end of the movie, there's a point, we won't spoil it, but there's a point where, it becomes obvious that the father's wishes to return his son aren't totally, genuine in terms of, hey, above board. And this revelation becomes, Eastwood admits this revelation to the kid, and the kid instantly, is like, how can I trust you? And then they have an interaction with the police, and the interaction ends. And then all of a sudden it's healed.
It's fine again.
It's fine again. It just seemed like things were really rushed to get to the finish line.
Yeah.
And that is, when Eastwood does that well, it's one of the trademarks of his way of making movies. They're very efficient, I guess is the way the word, right? When he makes a good one, it moves, right? And it cuts. But this one, it just moved, right? It didn't have any, as you said, there was not enough development in it, but there was more exposition than you could, possibly stand. This is not a line original to me, but there is one bit of praise that this might be the best performance by a rooster in movie history.
And I wanted to ask you about that because, look, I don't want to spoil too much. I mean, if you want to watch this, feel free. The rooster really didn't have a whole lot to do. in this movie. And my kind of question coming out of it was like, what was the point? What was the point of the rooster? Is it just to have a cool title like Macho, Cry Macho?
Yeah.
And it's not 100% this, but it kind of is. You know, you ever heard of what they call a MacGuffin? That Hitchcock and people like that, that's the MacGuffin.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
It's there, but it really doesn't have anything to do with the main part of the movie.
Mm-hmm.
Right? That was what I took it for. But you're right. It also puts a spin on that title. You know, like, okay, we're going to do some great criticism of macho, masculinity, and all that. No, we're actually just doing a story about a chicken.
Yeah. And their story really not about the chicken, but we're going to put him in the title of the movie.
Yeah.
The chicken does have one important scene.
Yes, one
important scene.
And then they move on really quickly again.
Like they do with everything else.
They change car to car like every 5 minutes. And it's just like, all right, cool, let's get in a new car.
And, you know, and the time, you know, they get their car stolen right when they're going to be at that small town.
Yep.
I mean, come on.
They walk down the hill and then suddenly it's getting taken away. Yeah.
This is one of the few where we've all kind of universally thought it wasn't that good.
Yeah.
You know, and main reason I picked it,
you're a big Eastwood guy.
Well, I am a big Eastwood guy, but it was also new, and I thought, hey, you know what? Let's see this, and you know, see how a 91-year-old man can still make movies. Listen, even though we didn't particularly like this one, just the fact that the man is still doing
it's pretty
this,
incredible,
and it's not a badly made movie. I mean,
no, the scenery is great.
Cinematography is spectacular.
Yeah.
You know, there's some of those views of Clint in the sunset are, you know, truly, I think message packed, iconic, right? Yes. But and it's edited and put together. I mean, there's nothing wrong with the way the movie's made. It's just all these things that we're talking about sort of overwhelm the Eastwood's skill as a movie maker. I assume, whether he acts or not, that he'll continue to direct and as long as he can. And his movies largely have been pretty decent that he's directed for 40 years or 30 years or whatever. Yeah. And there was a European director, I believe might have been Spanish, that directed a movie when he was over 100. Now, I don't know if Clint will make it that long, but I'll bet he'll direct movies for as long as he can.
Absolutely. Kind of like George Burns. He was going to keep performing until he was done. And he did. He performed until his dying day. I will admit there was one moment where I did mark out, and it's a classic Eastwood movie thing. And that is, there's a moment where Clint Eastwood has to punch a guy, and you get the classic fist coming right at the camera moment. Yeah. If you've ever seen Every Which Way But Loose, I mean, the whole movie is that, just watching that fist just come right at you. And of course, that grimace look on his face every time he throws a punch. And when I saw that, I was like, oh, I was instantly taken back, and I was waiting for Clyde to come out and the motorcycle gang, and we were.
That might have been more entertaining then if Clyde had shown up.
Yes, indeed.
Was this in your top 5 Eastwood movies?
No, not even close.
Yeah.
I did on Twitter earlier today. I put up my top 5 Eastwood movies.
I saw that.
And this was ones that he acted in, right? So, like,
yeah,
I
only picked the ones that he was in as a featured player.
Okay.
I mean, he may have also directed them.
Yeah.
In fact, most of them he did, but as a featured player, I had Gran Torino at 5. Trying to remember.
Here, I have your list in front. I had it in front of me.
What did I have?
All right, here we go.
Dirty Harry at 4.
Yep.
Every Which Way But Loose at 3.
Yep.
Unforgiven 2.
Yep.
And my favorite Eastwood movie, it's one of my favorite movies of all time, The Outlaw Josie Wells. That's my top 5.
And if I was going to put a couple more on that list, or a couple that I would put on that list, play Misty for me.
Which is about 73-4?
72, 3, 4. Yeah.
Yeah.
And of course, The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly.
Yeah.
I'm trying to remember because I watched one of them. I took a history of Westerns class at UNL.
It was probably Fistful of Dollars.
I was going to say, you got a fistful of dollars, I'll bet you.
Yeah, it was probably Fistful of Dollars.
That's one I saw in high school. We had the same
Yeah.
thing. It was a movie class and Fistful of Dollars.
American Sniper.
And part of the reason for that is, those spaghetti westerns. Good, the Bad, and the Ugly was the last one, and you kind of had to have some idea what they were about for that to make much sense to start with. And The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly is over at 2 hours and 25 minutes or something. It's long. So you're going to watch a Fistful of Dollars in class. It's like 90 efficient minutes.
Oh,
yes,
nice.
It is. It's a good movie too. It just missed out. But
and I just looked it up. I saw Gran Torino's on HBO Max, so I'm gonna have to watch that. I never saw it. I've seen there's a million memes that came out of it.
Yes, a million memes that came out of it.
Get off my lawn.
All right, Nick, you've been very active in this conversation. Appreciate it.
I didn't watch it. I'm glad I didn't.
Yeah,
I'm not a huge Eastwood fan.
Yeah,
I like Gran Torino, but I don't really like anything else that I've seen.
You didn't miss much.
No, you didn't miss
also,
much.
I can't forgive American Sniper because of that baby scene.
Yeah, that was pretty
baby
bad.
scene's not
Have
good.
you seen American Sniper?
Not in its entirety.
Okay.
No.
I like that movie a lot. But
Yeah.
the baby is bad.
The baby scene's ruined it.
Bad
Can you
acting.
guys humor me one more time?
Why? What do you mean humor you?
Well,
Are you gonna tell a bad joke?
no.
Okay.
It's about the movie I'm gonna pick. The documentary that just came out a couple weeks ago.
Oh,
Schumacher. On
Wow.
Netflix made a.
you're
Michael
picking another
Schumacher-
Formula One theme.
That's
movie.
why I asked you to humor me one more time.
All right.
God.
I won't do it again.
I want to watch that. Good
It's
work.
good.
Okay.
I haven't
no,
watched it yet.
I'm gonna watch it again.
I'm not gonna complain.
I mean, I'll watch it.
Just
Vroom,
one more
vroom.
Formula One thing.
One more until the next time. And then the next time. Soon he's gonna be like, we have to watch episode 1 of the F1 show.
Yeah.
It's called Drive to Survive, and I'm
There
not
you
going to do that.
And
anymore.
that's really good, by the way.
Drive to Survive.
Yeah.
It's very good.
It's
very,
why Nick likes Formula 1 now.
It's not why.
Right, Nick? It's really good.
It is really good.
compelling.
It's over dramatized, but it's good. I like
I
it.
heard
Well,
there's
and all reality shows are over dramatized.
What do you mean?
Yeah.
Real world, that's as real as it gets.
That's
Sean.
real world.
Except for the real world, then
Thank
the
you.
rest of them
Okay.
are
Thank
dramatized.
You.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And yes, we are going to review. We are going to do in 2 weeks.
2 weeks.
The Many Saints of Newark, which is the Sopranos prequel, which will also be debuting on HBO Max. So yes, we will do that one. I am so looking forward to it.
Yes,
So looking forward to it.
indeed.
But I'm also looking forward to Schumacher. I'm also looking forward to Schumacher.
good. It's good.
Yeah. Now, if we could get the Jackie Stewart one, that'd be
What Jackie Stewart won?
any of
You
them.
mean
I just
Something
want to
from
hear him
like
announce races.
1978.
I just want to hear him announce races again when he would get excited. Oh, Jim, there's that alcohol fire. Oh, it was always the best. All right, there you go. So next week we'll review Schumacher, and the week after that, Many Saints of Newark.
Perfect.
We've got to have a prediction. This is a referendum game, Kent. The season could go one of two ways. It could go well or bad.
Yeah.
So which way are we talking next week? What does the Kent crystal ball say?
Well, I was going to go 28-24 Michigan State, and then I remembered that Nebraska can't kick a field goal. So it's now 28-21 Michigan State.
Hey, at least he has them making 3 extra points, though.
That's true. That's true.
Yeah.
So that's good.
All right.
We'll take that.
That's what regular Kent thinks.
All right. But what does evil Kent think?
I could see 52-38 or something like that. Probably Nebraska.
Evil Kent's on drugs.
Badly on drugs.
That's a lot of drugs.
He likes the over.
Likes, yeah.
Yeah,
think-
he's going to score 90 points in that game.
He thinks Martinez will throw 5 or 6 touchdowns and Michigan State will rush for
Run
350.
the ball.
Yeah,
Kenneth Walker running the ball.
it could happen.
Up the middle, outside. Goodbye.
Uh-huh.
All right. Well, Kent, have a great weekend. We'll look forward to the Schumacher documentary next week, and we'll talk to you then.
Sounds great.
There he is, Kent
Later, Kent.
Wolgamott, ladies and gentlemen, of the Lincoln Journal-Star.
I thought that you would put something in the bottom line scroll for a moment because 3 phone calls came in back to back to back.
Yeah, what did
So
we do?
one of them was literally nothing. The
Mhm.
second one was a dial tone, and the third one was some guy asking some random unrelated question.
All right, perfect. That sounds like our listeners.
Oh, okay.
Hey, what time do the girls play?
It was
What?
a good question. It just wasn't pertinent.
Wow.
We had to go to break.
I appreciate this listener for calling and asking.
I had to make a
questions off
producer
the air.
decision.
That's fine. You can do that. We still have our keys to the game
Yeah, we do.
and our predictions for the game.
And
One Beer Friday
brought to you by the Doghouse Saloon.
in Waterloo. Keep sending in those picks, by the way, because Nick's going to pick one at random. $25 gift card to the Doghouse. We will be back at the Doghouse in 3 weeks, right?
2 weeks
No,
for the
2
Michigan
weeks.
game.
That's right, 2 weeks.
Yeah.
2 weeks for the Michigan game. So if you want to win $25 to the Doghouse, keep sending us your picks of what you're drinking this weekend for One Beer Friday, presented by the Doghouse Saloon in Waterloo and 1620 The Zone.
Your Omaha area forecast from the Godfather's Pizza Weather Center and KE.